Hey, I'm back with some Magic content. I've been playing a lot more Brawl recently, and I'm going to talk my Far Fortune Brawl deck, which I'll probably get some games in for. But let's talk about the deck first before we go in there. So I'm running Far Fortune, who is a new legend from MtG Wacky Races, aka Aetherdrift. Human Mercenary, the Mercenary part is relevant if you're running like tribal that connects to Outlaws of Thunder Junction. So she's an outlaw. She can't be killed by the sheriff, I think it is. And she's relevant for Laughing Jasper Flint. Not playing these, I'm just pointing out a little bit. She has a Start Your Engines mechanic, which creates speed when you hit 4 or max speed. Or other ability triggers. Anything that has a max speed effect has Start Your Engines on it. Whenever you attack, she deals 1 damage to each opponent. At max speed, any source of damage you control deals that much damage plus 1. So once you get her to speed 4, her attack, or the attack trigger will do 2, and she'll do 5 damage when she does combat damage, just as a base. So she gets pretty beefy for, 4 mana. Good stat line. So the next question is, and we'll go over this in a second, is what cards do you want to include to increase your speed? Well, there's 3 lands: the Amonkhet Raceway, the Avishkar Raceway, and the Muruganda Raceway. This is the Soul Land. None of these are exceptionally good. I find that the Raceway, the Amonkhet one, which gives haste, is fine. Avishkar is very pigeonholed. I also want to say that, I built this deck because I want to build a commander deck, and it's sitting on my desk ready to be sleeved. But this was kind of like the proof of concept. That being said, so if you have these 3 lands, I joke that you can get to speed 2 if you're playing Gingerbread, because you can drop one of them, get some colorless mana, and Gingerbread attacks on turn 1. Again, these cards are all standard legal, so we're playing Standard Brawl here. Other cards that kind of go along with that, the Phoenix Chick is great as an attacker, especially because it has haste. These guys are also really good and have value late game, because if you're at max speed with Far Fortune, they're going to do 2 damage. For the relatively low cost of 1 mana, and I'm fine with a shock or fine with a way to get through, so they're not dead late game. The Hired Claw is really good in this deck too, because you can go red on 1, play him, and then one of the Raceways on 2, and you'll get to 2 speed on 2, which is fine. Cut Down, because it's a necessary evil of Standard Brawl. You want to kill those early drops, and it's the best card that we have. It's like $5 in real life. It's not cheap, and there's a reason why. So Arcane Signet, again, is something that we have to have in this format. Molten Collapse, it's Dreadbore +1. It's good. I don't know the number of times. I don't really think I've used the Descended version of it, but this is just a great removal spell. As far as cards that... No, we'll get there. I would say cards that start your engines. The Gastro Thrill Streaker is great because he always gets you to 2 if you're not there. Because he enters, he'll start your engines, and then he'll deal 1. So he's just a 2 to get you to 2 speed if you play him on turn 2. Hazret Godseeker is great also as well. I mean, she's just a house. If you can get her turned on at max speed where she can attack or block, she's a 5/3. She's indestructible, so she's pretty nuts. Late game value is there, because if you're at 4 speed, she's the 5/3 haste immediately. But she can also make guys unblockable, which is kind of cool. I've won with that with cards like, we'll get Alicia, who laughs at fate, because you can play, if she attacks, you can use Hazret to make her unblockable, and then she gets the +1/+1 counter, which is pretty hot. The Momentum Breaker, it's an edict that has Start Your Engines on it. You can gain life with it, but it's really just there to kill creatures that you can't kill, or vehicles, I guess. I'm playing the removal package of Feed the Swarm because I need to get rid of enchantments, and I'm playing black. Shielded Edict because it's just really darn good, especially in a format that Ketchamos now exists in, and he's indestructible. You have to get around him somewhere. A Braid because I want artifact destruction and double duty as creature removal. The Chainsaw. This card's hilarious. It's very good. It's sorcery speed, 3 damage. Again, with Far Fortune, it does 4 if she's at max. I've gotten this up to 14. It's loads of fun. Impact Tremors. Yeah, dig this out of your commons box. They're worth like $3 if you have OGs. Yeah, so with Far Fortune or Start Your Engines in play, just playing creatures and having play, we'll get to this to you. There's a few cards that this really takes effect with. the House God Heavy, which we'll get to in a second. And again, with Far Fortune in play, it does 2 damage, so it's pretty hot. Lightning Strike, you know what this does. Glittering Bolt's more removal. The Razorkin Needlehead. So you can only get speed on your turn, but this fine fellow, he deals 1 damage to your opponent whenever they draw a card. Once you're at max speed with Far Fortune, that doubles to 2. That's pretty hot. Shieldred, the Apocalypse, does loss of life, so she doesn't trigger the same way he does. She was originally in the deck, but she's just, I don't know how to say she's showing her age, but she doesn't fit in this deck. That's the 2 drops. 3 drops, Gastral Raider. Start your engines, discard from their hand, max speed, gets menace and +1/+1. This guy's great. He just gives you that duress effect on a body with start your engines. He's doesn't always hit something, but he's just good. He's knowledge. Hour of Victory, I question how good this card is. It's won me several games, but I'm still kind of on the fence about it. The Start Your Engines, again, great. Makes a 2/2 zombie. So if you just thought of it as a 2/2 Start Your Engines, it'd be fine. At max speed, it's a tutor. You just sack it as a sorcery. Search your card for a deck. Demonic Tutor. Is it cool to play 5 for a Demonic Tutor? I'm on the fence about it. But again, I've tutored for like a Lightning Strike and just won the game. It's really solid. Lord Skitter. Graveyard hate, because some decks you want to hate on their graveyard. Muldrotha is in the Brawl format right now, thanks to Magic Foundations, and Lord Skitter provides a solution. There's a few other things you want to deal with. Also synergizes with Impact Tremors. He's great. I love Lord Skitter. Withering Torment, again, gotta destroy enchantments. The House God Heavy, yeah, he's no... There's been goblins like Legion, I would say Legion Loyalist, but that's not the one. There's a bunch of goblins, Goblin Rabble Master, that make goblins. The House Squad Heavy, not on the same level. He's still really good, because typically your opponent, if they're not ready for him, you drop out on turn 3, start your engines, your goblin attacks immediately, you're at 2 speed. It's cool. Max speed, you could tap and add a red for each goblin you control. I'm just playing him as my only goblin, so because of that, he... in general, only will ever make 2 or 3 mana. I've never had him make more. I think I've had him make 4 once, but he's not making me like 15 mana. He's really cool. You can protect him with Hazoret, so when he attacks, he's not blockable. Urgrass Forge, this card's great. It's still exceptional. You want to get it out early. Again, Impact Tremor combo. And this are usually things that they don't want to block. It's solid. It's a threat. Alicia Laughs at Fate, we talked about just briefly. She's really great. She's just an incredible card. The Raid Trigger, bringing back things. Remember, you don't have to attack with her, so you could be like attack with, anything. Play her, bring back a 1 or 2 drop. She's really strong. My 4 drops, the Decadent Dragon. Expensive Tastes, just great. I mean, this card's fine. It doesn't change the world, but it's a really solid card. I love it as a 4-drop. It's a flyer. Like, stat line on the creature side is fine. The Expensive Taste is incredible. You can really blow people out. I just won a game against a mono black deck where I cast it on turn 4 and I had the 2 red, 2 black, and I hit a Duress, and I played the Duress on them, and they're just like, we're done. Weird things like that happen. You can get some really cool cards off of it. Enduring Courage, I think, I like it just because you don't have to worry about it when it dies. It just comes back. Really synergistic with a lot of the combo, the token making creatures in the deck. The +2 damage is relevant. It's really good. The enduring creatures are all pretty solid. Odor Axonel. Okay, so I played with this guy a few times. I played with him in Constructed even, say like Pioneer. So he's pretty dumb because if he's in play, the Far Fortune trigger now does damage equal to his power, which will be 4. But if she's at max speed, it'll do 5 because it'll do his power +1. Yeah, so that's the big synergistic combo in the deck. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we'll get to. Yeah, we'll get them over here. Soulfeem doubles the damage that your non-combat damage would be dealt. So again, Far Fortune doubles her damage. So if it's +1, it'll be 2, then it'll be 4. So Soulfeem's pretty nuts. He's honestly kind of weak When you compare him to like Aetherdrift, who can, when he dies, transforms into land, and that's really actually pretty easy to transform him back in this deck. But Sulfime, Aetherdrift, if you get these in play, like they're just done. So the 4-drops are all very impactful in the deck. As you notice too, I'm running more red than black. The Speed Demon. Yeah, so it's a late game start your engines card. Ideally, you're not going to want this to start your engines. That would be really bad if you're at turn 5 or 5 mana and you're starting your engines at this point. But at the beginning of your end step, you draw X cards and lose X for X is your speed. So this thing dies a lot. Like, it's just flying trample. Ironically, it's called the Speed Demon. It doesn't have haste. But when you play it, if you just play this and you draw 4 cards, you're so far ahead. And they have to kill it, because you're going to do that again next turn. Even if you're not drawing 4, if you play this guy and you draw 2 cards, 3 cards, this is a threat. This is like changing the game. Very powerful, very like he's not. You're not playing for the stat line. You're playing for the fact that you're just drawing cards at the end step. Like if they don't have the answer, you're just immediately. I mean, you're always drawing 1, so he's always replacing himself. But again, if you're in that situation, bad things have already happened. But no, you're probably drawing 2 or 3 and possibly 4. He swings the game in your favor so heavily, and if they don't have an answer, the game's gonna close out really quick. I know there's loss of life there, but like you're on the aggro side. So Speed Demon, convert a wild card to this, buy these things for 50 cents, play them in your commander deck. He's very good. Dragonhawk, Fate's Tempest. I was shocked to find out this is like a $6 card in real life, because I usually think that this is like a quarter bin card. The showcase one's like $12, and I'm tracking one down. If you have one, I'm interested in trading or buying from you. So yeah, Dragonhawk. If you haven't played with this guy or seen him in draft or something, you probably haven't seen him in constructed, because I don't think anyone's playing him. Exile top X cards your library, X the number of creatures you control, power 4 or greater. So he's always going to trigger himself, but Far Fortune will trigger him. There's a bunch of creatures that trigger him in this deck. I've hit him for, at most, typically 3. And then you can play those cards that are exiled, and then for each one that's not, he deals 2 damage. Well, Far Fortune affects this, I think. And then, like, I've had, when this happens, usually I'm over the top with, like, Aetherdrift or Sulfime or Far Fortune in play, and I can't even track how much life my opponents lose, because it's just like there's all these numbers, like it's the Jodie Foster meme where I'm confused. That being said, he lets you play more cards. He's really strong. 5/5 for 5 flying stat line is great. He's another one, and it's when he enters or attacks. So I've had games where I had a game where I had the Enduring Courage in play, and I had Dragonhawk, and I attacked. I had an entire hand of exile cards that I could play, and my opponent ended up taking, like, I don't know, 38 damage from cards or something stupid. Ridiculous. Dragonhawk is worth every penny. This is going to be a weird one. The Painter Studio and Defaced Gallery. So there's sometimes where, like, your turn 1, turn 2, I don't know why I wouldn't have a turn 2 play. But the turn 2, the Defaced Gallery, giving your attacking creatures +1/+0 until end of turn. It's cute. It's nothing special. It's a weak anthem for 2. The Painter Studio is why you're playing this card, though, because it is exile at top 2, and you can play them until the end of your next turn. It's just a card that gives you advantage on, and it's an impulse draw effect, but it's till the end of the next turn. I'm not playing this in the commander version of the deck. It is too weak there, but for Brawl, this card is phenomenal. Both sides do things. It's very strong. I love it. It's Duskborn is giving us some really cool cards that if you're looking to be a brewer, that these are the cards that you want. I can't say enough good things about this card, and I'm just gonna go over here to the Glassworks and Shattered Yard. The Glassworks is just a 4 damage spell for 3, but you're playing it also because of the dual nature of it, kind of like with Adventures. With the Shattered Yard, I mean, you're dealing 1 damage each opponent at a turn. If you have Far Fortune in play, if you have all these other effects in play, that effect starts to ramp up, like 1, 2. It's very good. Back to the 5-drops. Virtue of Courage and Embereth Ablaze. Embereth Ablaze is Stomp. It's the same, literally the same thing that Stomp did on Bone Crusher Giant. So that's it, yeah. Virtue of Courage, though, whenever you deal combat damage to an opponent, you can exile cards from the top of your library. You can play them this turn. we've gotten this far. You understand how this works with Far Fortune. I have this in play. I attack. I hit them for 1 or 2, and I get 2 more cards potentially to play on impulse plays. This card is very strong. It doesn't see any constructed play, but in decks like this, like when we're playing Brawl, this card is very powerful. Especially when you have like something like Impact Drummers in play as well. When you're just like play a creature, hit you for 1, get another, like get a free card off the top. Very strong. It costs 5. It should cost 5. It's great. Rankle and Torbran. I was on the fence about this. My friends convinced me to play this one. Didn't realize how it works intrinsically at first. Flying First Strike Haste, 3/4 for crazy 5 mana. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, your battle choose any number. Create a treasure token, sacrifice a creature, each player sacrifices a creature, or if the source you control will deal damage to a player or battle, it deals that much damage plus 2 instead. Doesn't sound that exciting until you realize that he has First Strike. So he changes the combat math because Rankle and Torbran, or they, will hit first, and then all of your other creatures will do more damage. You can create weird blocking situations too, because they'll do damage, and if your opponent has 1 blocker that's going to kill your blocker, just make them sacrifice. Make them sacrifice their guy and sacrifice your guy who's going to die anyway. It usually turns out in the best. I've never made a treasure with this. I never want to ramp my opponent. I don't think I would do this in Commander either. I just had someone do this against me, and I was kind of like, okay, like, that's it. He lost because he gave me a treasure. He was also playing Far Fortune. Last card we haven't talked about is the Overlord of the Boiler Reaches, Boiler Bilges. For 4 mana for 4 damage, it's fine. For 6 mana, like, he's good. The Overlords are good, you know this, you play them in Constructed. Mana base is pretty straightforward. I'm not playing the land that gains you life. I'm playing a Jagged Baron to deal 1 damage to my opponent, because again, Far Fortune will make it deal 2 if she's at max speed. Nothing crazy there. So let's look at cards that have start your engines. Man, I'm talking for 16 minutes about my deck. This is how excited I am about Magic. We only have a page that are both red and black. So let's talk about the reasons I didn't play them. Mutant Surveyor. There's a cycle that all have start your engines and they can be exiled from your graveyard. This card is no better than any of those. We'll get to the red one in a second because I'm not playing him either. But this card just doesn't do anything. It's a chump. Don't play him. Risen Necro Regent. I thought this card was going to be phenomenal, but for 5/4, 5 mana 5/4 that only does something if he's at max speed, and that's making elite zombies that don't at least come into play tapped. It's not worth it. He's just too big. There's better cards, and I'm playing them. Streaking Oil Gorger. Cool in Draft. It's 3/3 flying haste for 5. Woohoo! I'm playing 5/5s for 5. That do much better things. It has lifelink if you have max speed. Cool. Not where I want to be. Speed Demon I'm playing. Burning Bastronaut. I feel like this card is a trap. It's got Menace and it's got Start Your Engines, and that's cool. The bad Fire Breathing, I don't care. Max speed gives it double strike. It's kind of cool, but I don't think he's worth it. He might be fine since I'm playing the Howl Squad Heavy. I guess I'm a little bit on the fence about him, but I don't feel like this card is particularly good. I feel like the Hired Claw, I feel like the cards that I'm running are much better. This guy, Endriser Catalyzer, I just played against the Far Fortune deck that played this thing. I don't want a 3/1 for 2. He doesn't, it's not exciting me, and adding mana at max speed, it's kind of like a win more. Like if you're at that point where you're playing a 3/1 mana dork that might make some mana on turn 4. Yeah, it's just not good. Kickoff Celebration. It's fine. I'm just not running it. Goblin Surveyor. Here's the max speed common cycle for red. Not good. 3/2 trample for 3. We could do better, and we do. Outpace Oblivion. Somebody played this against me earlier, and I felt like, again, the same guy playing Far Fortune. I did not feel like 5 damage for 3. I guess it hits Planeswalkers. I guess we'll compare it to the Glassworks, wherever that is in my list, because it's got that. The Glassworks. I like this card better. I don't care that this says Start Your Engines on it, because if I'm starting my engines on 3, I want it to do more than just damage. Endrider Spike Spitter. He's fine. Not worth playing. Playing the Thrill Seeker, Fang Far Fortune. Walking Sarcophagus. It's a 3/3 if you have max speed. It's a 2-2, 2-1 for 2. It's not good. Don't play it. Yeah, starting column. I don't want three drop mana rocks. This is true in Commander unless they do something exceptional, and this is true in Brawl. I don't want a 3 drop mana rock. Racer scoreboard. It's not good. I don't even play it unlimited. And then I've got the 3 lands. Oh, I'm playing all of those. So there you go. So there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12 cards with Start Your Engines that you don't want to play. I mean, I'm only playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 9, well, 8 and then 3 lands. So, and one of those is my commander, so we're always at access. So, that's the deck. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and we'll play some games. So, away, well, we'll go. See you in a minute. And we're off. So I've been playing this deck for, I don't know, 2-3 weeks now. I've lost track. I haven't been recording a lot, but for the Brawl achievement, I've hit 150 games quite easily. I have not played against a Tyvar. This hand is not nothing I would keep. This hand is exceptionally better. We're probably going to go with first turn Temple of Malice into Gastral Seeker, depending on what he does here. That seems fine. He's probably going to mill himself. Yeah. I mean, I guess there's also the argument that I could do Gingerbrew. No, I like this better. I could go like Gingerbrew and force the trade because he doesn't. He's not going to get value off of this. I don't know what his deck does at all. Okay, so does he have the land? He might be looking for one. Might be a quick game. He's got the land. Let's go. Let's go Seeking Thrills. Which one is this? The haste one? Yeah, I like that land. So I have 4 for Far Fortune on 4. We'll see what happens. Green-black is not always the best combination to deal with. He's probably going to mill too.
Today we carve our deeds into history. Your story's not finished yet.
Wow, there's like so much bad that's happening for him right now. Let's play the Raceway. Let's play the Chick. Play the Gingerbrew. He might concede right here. I don't know. I don't know what his deck does. Let's go, guys. Interesting. Did not see that one coming. Probably gonna kill my Thrill Seeker, obviously. Like, that's the play. I don't necessarily feel like that was that strong. But what do I know? I don't know what his deck does, so. Not much, apparently. So let's talk about it. So I'm gonna have max speed next turn. We're gonna play Far Fortune, and unless he attacks, unless he can kill her before, like unless he pushes and does nothing, I'm gonna attack. I'm gonna deal 1 damage. We're gonna get a max speed, and even if he played like a blocker, like let's say worst case scenario, he played Glissa Sunslayer. I think that's her name. The 3-drop first strike death touch. You know who I'm talking about. I would play Far Fortune. I'd attack with the Phoenix Chick, and I would do 1 to win, putting him at 22, and then another 2 to put him to 20, and then hopefully, cross my fingers, I would rip into a land, and then I'm gonna have Torbrand. I'm gonna have black land, Torbrand, and then I'm gonna come over and sack Gingerbrew and whatever, or play Speed Demon. I got a lot of options, but that was pretty quick. Okay, so that one didn't last too long. Maybe we get a knockdown drag out battle. I don't know. I really love Far Fortune. I make fun of the Aetherdrift set that what they presented us was Magic Death Race, and I'll admit I did not read the story. You know a little bit about me. You probably know a lot more about me than I than I think, because most of the people watching are friends and family, if anything. But that being said, My dad was a professional author. I know how to write. The last Magic story I read, I wanted to pull my hair out. The writing is terrible. Not to say that I'm a professional writer, but I've read a lot, I've written a lot, and some of their writers are just terrible. So I typically don't watch, or watch like Magic Arcanum or something. I don't like either of these hands, but it's what we got. So what is the play? I think we go Raceway 1, Impact Tremors 2. Depending on what he does. There aren't... Are you kidding me? Okay, so yeah, so I'm not a big fan of the Magic story. We got Wacky Races. Farm Fortune is like the only character that, again, not knowing a lot about her, I feel like she's very Mad Maxy, and I'm happy with that. But oh my god, Wacky Races. I'm totally fine with this. Theater, like, so his commander costs 1. Don't want that. So if he does this, we're gonna Momentum Breaker, because that'll start the speed up as opposed to Obliterating Bolt. Please don't concede. Okay. So next turn's gonna be exciting, unless... What do I discard here? Yeah. Ooh, Command Tower. Obviously he's on like a discardy themed deck. The problem being is that like those, they don't work as well once you've gotten rid of all your cards in your hand. Goodbye, Razorhead Needlekin, Razorhead Needlehead. Yeah, like, I've got his commander covered. I've got a bunch of stuff covered. What does this do now? He has 1 or fewer cards in hand. Okay, cool. I guess we play the Cliffs. And just get in there. So that does 1, and then we hit him for a lot. That's it, in turn. I did not draw an additional card. Okay, you got me. It's interesting how it's a trigger. Could be a very slow game. Hey, Gastro Raider. Guess we get rid of that Gix's command. And he does draw an additional card. You got it, buddy. I don't like he's drawing all these cards, but what can I do? guess we can kill Tiny Bones again. Man, I wish I had that Razor Kid Needlehead in play still. Liliana, you got me. I guess I'm discarding Dragonhawk.
A fight? And you think you can win? You won't be outsmarting me.
How lucky. I got it, you did it,
Sorry,
but
I'm
it
not
doesn't
interested
stop the
in dying
effect.
today.
Oh, also if I get Odra Axonil and the Shattered Ward, that Shattered Yard, that's kind of cool. Not sure if I should play that. Seems pretty bad for me, not gonna lie. Where's the brand when you need it? And that's it. We're done. You got me, Tiny Bones. You're gonna be famous, Dimatos.